Kieron Dyer made 33 appearances for the England national team between 1997 and 2007, which, when you consider how much competition there was for midfield places during that time, isn't bad going. The former Newcastle United winger, who burst onto the scene with Ipswich Town in the late 1990s, was part of the England squads for both the 2002 World Cup finals and the 2004 European Championships. England reached the quarter-finals of both tournaments under Sven-Göran Eriksson, who was the man in charge of one of the most talented group of footballers this country has produced in many years. Looking back at it, it's hard not to feel that Eriksson and his players underperformed at the two aforementioned major tournaments, plus the 2006 World Cup finals in Germany. There was enough talent in those squad to at least reach the semi-finals. Many England fans believe the Three Lions should have won something during that golden period, and it's hard to disagree too strongly. Midfield was a constant problem for Eriksson, who struggled to get the best out of Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard and Paul Scholes. The Swedish coach would often sacrifice Scholes, deploying the Manchester United star on the left flank, in favor of a midfield two comprised of Gerrard and Lampard. Dyer, speaking to ＳUBCRIBER this week, still can't believe that Scholes was played out on the left in order to accommodate the Liverpool and Chelsea stars. We were playing 4-4-2 in those days and Scholes got pushed out to the left, which I thought was one of the most disrespectful things that could have happened to a player like that, the 39-year-old said. It's a shame that a manager didn't get the best out of that crop of midfielders. Dyer was asked to name his dream five-a-side team, so had to decide whether to drop Scholes, Gerrard, or Lampard. It seems it was a reasonably straightforward decision for the retired winger. The best player I ever played with, Paul Scholes, Dyer continued, naming the first of his two midfielders. The debate has always been who's better, Scholes, Frank Lampard and Steven Gerrard. In my humble opinion, Paul Scholes was the best. It's kind of crazy, because if you were saying who had the better career, Gerrard and Lampard had individual moments. They've both scored in Champions League finals. Frank is Chelsea's all-time leading scorer and Gerrard, a bit unfairly to his teammates, was classed as a one-man team by Scholes, with all the superstars they had at Man United, was kind of in the background. But people who played with him and against him know that he was so special and unique. He could do everything except the tackle. He then explained why he was selecting Gerrard over Lampard. He'd be on one side of midfield and the second one, I'd go Steven Gerrard, Dyer added. Where I said Paul Scholes couldn't tackle, Gerrard was complete. He could run up and down, play defensive midfield, play off the striker, had unbelievable delivery, scored wonder goals. He would be the captain of my team. He had everything. I know people talk about Kenny Dalglish as Liverpool's greatest ever player, and I was a Liverpool player and have seen all the tapes, but Dalglish had a great team with him and was surrounded by great players. Steven Gerrard didn't have great players around him most of the time. He had a few but not great, and what he did for that club, the games he won on his own, West Ham in the FA Cup final, Milan, I think he scored in the UEFA Cup final, and the League Cup final against Man United. When you're talking about careers, people would have a quarter of his career. Dyer did admit that Lampard was a world-class midfielder, but clearly he believed that both Scholes and Gerrard were better. You can watch the video of Dyer naming his team here. Were Scholes and Gerrard better than Lampard?